The effects of infidelity in marriage includes broken trust and emotional trauma for both the spouse who's been betrayed and the one who's cheating. So my question to you is, after experiencing betrayal in marriage, what are some of the challenges of healing and moving forward?
Yeah. In fact, betrayal because of a spouse's infidelity, it causes intense emotional, psychological, relational, as well as spiritual, damages to the other spouse. And each one of these areas, they throw open a lot of challenges. And these are not simple challenges, which are huge. And suddenly, they become so huge to the spouse who has been betrayed. And so they go through a process of handling this trauma. In fact, they have to build their own self worth because they feel that they have been let down. And they have to navigate through a lot of uncertainty about the future. Is this relationship, going to end, or am I going to continue with this? A lot of confusion. And this is not a simple, attack, but it is a very huge one. In fact, one of the major challenges that comes is the emotional and the psychological trauma that comes. In fact, there are feelings of shock. There is deep sadness on one side. The other side, there is anger, and people lose their mind in that anger. And then there is a huge loss, of their self-worth that they are experiencing within their own hearts and minds. In fact, it is like mourning for a dead relationship. They thought it is going to, bloom and give a lot of fruit. Suddenly this has come upon them, and it is like grieving, for the dead relationship. In fact, it has been proved that many individuals go through an experience similar to the PTSD experience, the post traumatic stress disorder. So, this is called as PISD. It is post infidelity stress disorder because it is huge. And that is why it has a whole area of study. It resembles very much the post traumatic stress disorder. And some of the symptoms that the people go through is anxiety is there. There is a sense of hyper vigilance, like, you are excessively vigilant and watching, listening, what is happening, where is he going, what is she doing, all these things. And then intrusion of unwanted flashback memories that are coming, thoughts about the affair, what has gone on. And so undue memories, they keep coming to us. There is also a loss of trust that has happened here, and that is very big. And it is not easy to rebuild this trust, because trust is the cornerstone of this relationship. And if that itself, the cornerstone is broken, then just imagine how that relationship will appear. And rebuilding that is beyond us. So the fear is there. What if it happens again? Is it going to reform, and then are we going to start afresh? So all these things, because of the loss of trust, it keeps coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really huge, because the emotional pain is so deep. Betrayal is not easy. I know I'll take it little away from what we are speaking. Jesus was betrayed, and one of his own, kissed him, and he betrayed him. I mean, how much of a emotional pain Jesus must have gone through, we don't know. But then he was betrayed. He has gone through the emotional pain, and he shows us the way. And that is what I want to share this in this episode, the aspect of forgiveness. That is again, a huge thing, because forgiving someone who has betrayed through infidelity is one of the most difficult emotional journey, to take. It is the forgiveness is not about, pretending that the betrayal didn't happen, but it is all about releasing oneself from the grip of bitterness, from the grip of anger, and all the emotional upheavals. I hope that makes it more clear. But then there are steps involved in forgiving the person. And what are some of the steps? First, acknowledge the pain of betrayal. When we fall and when we hurt ourselves, we cry out in pain because the hurt is there. Same way, the betrayal has happened. So acknowledge the pain and express the pain. Maybe in your own silence or in your own silos, you can express the pain, but with someone else also. You can journal it privately, or you can talk to a person about the pain that you're going through because of this betrayal. One has to grieve over the loss of the trust there. When someone dies, we grieve because there is loss of a loved one. Same way here, the loss of trust has happened. So we have to allow ourselves to grieve if there is a betrayal that has happened. And the dreams are also shattered. So it's again a loss there. So it is better to acknowledge the pain and grieve. That's the first step in forgiving. And the second thing, it doesn't mean that reconciliation will happen. So know what forgiveness is and forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. I hope we get it here. Or necessarily restoring the relationship immediately. No, it takes time, it may not even happen. So that's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is choosing to release oneself, the right to take revenge and the right, to resentment because somebody has betrayed. And so there is a resentment, there's anger. You have every right there. But choosing to release that right to take revenge and for resentment, that is forgiveness. It's about, finding peace in our soul is the main thing. Then the third step is to take it to God. So the first is to acknowledge that there is pain. And second is to know what is forgiveness and what forgiveness is not. And the third step is to take it to God. Jesus did that. He was betrayed. Now he's on the cross. And the first thing he says is, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So Judas was also included in when he says, Father, forgive them. So take it to God because God understands how the betrayal has happened and how much it has damaged. And He's the only one who can comfort and come through in times of betrayal because the Bible says the Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and He saves those who are crushed in the spirit. And so take it to God. Then the next step is set boundaries. Forgiveness doesn't mean that the person who has betrayed is given a free pass. Okay, I forgive you. That's it. And then the person goes back, sometimes repeating the same thing. So we need to set boundaries there, healthy boundaries, especially, if the pattern of infidelity is seen. You can forgive and still choose to remain, not remain in the relationship there, setting the boundaries. Okay, you show me that you're building the trust again, you're trying to rebuild again. It's a process. You show me that, and then we will see what the next step is. So that kind of healthy boundaries are important. And also, choosing to forgive daily in our prayers is very important because Peter comes and asks how many times to forgive. 7 times, and then Jesus says 70 times 7. That means choosing to forgive daily when the memories hit. That is important. That will help us to walk the healthy way ahead. And seeking healing, not just resolution, because resolution is temporary. When again things repeat, it will go the bad way. So it is always the healing that needs to be focused on. So this is the third thing that we would like to share here, forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another significant challenge that people face, we call it as the decision making paralysis. We call it paralysis because it is almost like that. The critical challenge is deciding whether to repair the relationship or to relinquish the relationship, whether to repair it and then go on with this, or should I leave this relationship. So that's a very big decision that is before the grieving party. And this is not easy because it is compounded by mixed emotions. Like you have lived these many years with the spouse, and what happens to the love that you have shared between yourself? It doesn't die in one day. What about all the things that you have done together, enjoyed life together? You can't just say full stop and then end it. So the person has to struggle with that on one side, and then on the other side, he or she has to struggle with the anger that is there, with the resentment that is there, with all the feelings that are there. So in the midst of this, taking a decision is much 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 difficult. Added to this is talk about the finances that are involved,
Mm.
and much more than the finances, talk about the children that are involved. What happens to them? They also go through that. Many times they don't understand, but then there is a big hit that they also take. So the pressure to move on quickly, is there on one side, but it clashes with the need for the time to process the whole, episode, the whole grief that the person is enduring. So that is why we call it as a paralysis, decision-making paralysis. And another significant challenge that comes across is rebuilding self-esteem. And because of this infidelity, what has happened is the aggrieved party, the betrayed party, starts feeling that I'm no one. That's why he or she has gone, she has left and gone. And so the self esteem has hit rock bottom, and a lot of work needs to be done in order to build that self esteem. In fact, a shattering of the self esteem has happened. And so the self image, the identity which is shattered, has to be rebuilt again in order to come to a place where she can handle the things, or he or she can handle the things there. So the value is not there for that person. And this person who has fallen into infidelity has disregarded everything of this spouse whom he or she has loved all these years. And the feelings that this betrayed party goes through is, was I not enough?
Mm.
Or what did I do wrong? Wasn't I sufficient? What was lacking in me? See, these are the questions, which put the person down and down, never to get up, almost like that. And so there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And overcoming
There's
these
something wrong in me.
something wrong in
Yes,
me.
that's
Yeah.
right.
We start, the aggrieved party, will start introspecting or trying to think in a wrong direction also many times. And if that is not stopped, then a lot of damage can happen.
Mm.
And that is why Jesse was suggesting that help should be sought at a very early
Early,
age,
early stage.
before the slip has completely taken place. When it has just started, that is when help is needed. So relearning self-worth is very important, and the party has to take proper steps towards that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, another challenge is, in moving forward, is the society and the family. Society and the family will start to poke their nose. Unnecessarily, they will cross boundaries and get into, a point where they will start to question why this happened. Maybe because of you only. These are all the questions that may come from people outside your family and from your family itself. So, what happens at that point of time is the person who is betrayed will feel ashamed or even, feel judged. And to ask for help, they will go into their own silos, try to handle it or manage it all by themselves. And if there are children, the questions that come from children, why this is happening between both of you, dada and mama, what to give, what answer to give them. That's a huge challenge there. And to convince the children that it's not their fault, it is something that dada and mama have to handle. It is because of their own, conflicts. It's not an easy thing. So these are some of the challenges that the betrayed person has to face as they move on. And the opinion from friends and families also can make it even harder to decide what to do, or what step to take in this relationship. Some of them will say, okay, go on, finish it off. Some will say no, you have to say yes and stay on. Many times in our culture, we have seen the families saying, okay, be there. But then, it's hard to be there. So opinion from the family and the friends also makes it harder. This is one of the challenge. And long-term relationship dynamics, in the sense the aggrieved party may be willing to take the reconciliation steps, but the person who has betrayed may not be prepared still. He or she may say, what's there in this? Okay, we'll just move on. No, the reconciliation steps have to be in place. Then only, we can see healing in this relationship.
So I have a question.
Okay.
This is a scenario that is seen in the society today about infidelity or these affairs that happen before marriage,
Mm-hmm.
but it is kept as a secret, and they get into marriage
Yeah,
with this coming along.
that's right.
So, and suddenly after a few months, the spouse comes to know about this.
Yeah.
To handle this is becoming very difficult. So,
Yes.
what do you have to say about that?
I know that again is what to say, a hurtful thing, because it's a heavy discovery, I should say. You're married already, and then you get to know that there was something in the past. It's hurtful. It, in fact, evokes or brings out many questions in you. Like, was this relationship ever real? Did I marry someone under false pretense? These are all some of the questions that will come. Where was God in this? Why didn't God reveal, the fact that this person was already involved in a relationship? These are all some of the questions that may come. So, how to address this? Give yourself, again, as I said earlier, give yourself permission to feel the pain. Now you have discovered something, you are in pain, acknowledge the pain, address the pain. That's it. Grieve. That is the first thing. You may feel angry, you may feel sad, whatever it is, whatever are the feelings, name it and acknowledge the feeling that you are going through. You can't just say, get over it. No, you acknowledge and feel the pain. Then, secondly, now that you have discovered this truth, sit with a person, ask for the full truth. Not just go and shake and say, see, this is what I've got to know. What is it that you have to tell? No, this is how I'm feeling after coming to know the truth. So I want to hear it from you. Be open. How you're feeling is very important to share with the person who has betrayed. Ask for the whole truth there. Not with the intention of punishing, but to get to know the truth so that you will have a perspective there and then address it accordingly. So that is one way. And then also, it is just between the two now, till now. But then, ask the person who has betrayed if you can seek help from a third person to see the perspective and to see how you can move forward. Yeah. You cannot put a closure immediately over there. Yeah. I mean, this is what I personally feel. If you want to add
Any
something.
thoughts?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think, see, as far as God is concerned, in our lives, the moment we entrust our lives into His hands, right at young age, I'm not talking of marriage or anything, even before that, much before that, as we, get educated in school, we need to get educated about God also. Because without God being present in our lives, these are all the things that can happen. Not that these things will not happen, but then when God is there, the yielding ourselves into God's hands gives us that extra trust in God. Trusting Him that He will not allow things to go out of my control. He is in control, and He will do the best. So in our own lives, when before marriage we were taught to pray for our marriages, and that is why I remember I prayed for almost 7 years before marriage. I didn't want to make any mistake regarding that. And so I was not, keeping her or anyone in mind and praying. I was keeping God in mind and praying, Lord, whosever name, you are going to write on my life, I will, because I trust you. And see, after 40 years, we are happy without, any such problems. So we would encourage listeners, to just yield your lives into God's hands. That is the best that you can do. That is the greatest decision that we can do. And God will take care of all the problems that we might face in life.
And I want to add one more thing. See, before marriage, there is a past. Maybe, an affair has happened. Before marriage, it is better to be open about that with the person whom you're getting married to. I mean, this is for the listeners to, if that can help the younger generation who are preparing for marriage. It's always better to share with the person whom you're getting married to. You don't have to give the details over there of what has happened and all. But then you can always tell, there was something in my past I would like to share with you. And this is it. It's better to be open about that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the courage, we always encourage, you can share that through your mentor or somebody who is spiritually mature, and so that the person who has gone through this past will be always accountable there. Now, this is one way of coming out clean before marriage. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust is the cornerstone of marriage. And we have discussed many points in this episode, and I believe that it has brought much insight. If you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to reach out to us. Our number is +91 63 6425 2164, or you can send us an email to info@febaonline.org. Healing and reconciliation is possible. Forgiveness is important. We have discussed about so many points. Please stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.